Hi, Warriors. How's everyone doing today? Good morning, Alexander. Brock, my trading warrior brother. Mark Williams says beans are a good buy here. Take a look at that, Mark. Hello, Paul, Arena, Hugo, Paul, and Ren. All you guys, let's take a look around. I wanted to start with what happened here yesterday. So we had some Canadian news break right before the interview yesterday. Hello, Paul. And we had this spike down on the news, on the Canadian news. It was constructive bullish news. You can't see it? Okay, how about now? You got it? Thank you, guys. All right. So we had, positive news for Canada, and they took Canada down. And live on Face, right before the interview, Blake went in and bought this spike low. Live right here. So I just want to ask you, that's, he's here and talking maybe 20 minutes during Face. So can you imagine if you were around him and the other traders in our members chat all day long, how many good ideas? So this was an example of, a great entry. Anyone coattail Blake on the Canadian yesterday? Anyway, okay, great. Yeah, so you're going to see more of that in here. Let alone if I, show you some active patterns in play, you might be long the metals like Blake is. Long silver still. And Greg
Blake is
long
actually
gold.
short. Dale, Blake
Short silver.
Yeah, and Greg is long gold.
Okay, see? So, yeah, we don't have a company line. And you know what? They both could be right. A lot of it depends on the time frame. How are you? Hey, how are you, Sinatra? So anyway, that was a great live example of what you could get more of should you decide to become a member here. And just wanted to remind everyone about that. So I covered my Aussie shorts yesterday down here, right in here, once it looked like it wasn't going to follow through on the breakdown. I may take another shot, but that was really just a one-day rally in the dollar. And when I look at this right here, we have a little divergence, and everyone's target is like 88.5. So I don't know if I want to fight this or just let it go. Again, your weakness continues to be the Aussie compared to everything else. One thing I can point out is, we have two drives here in cable, and one more high above these highs would give us a 3 up here. And what a nice spike in Bitcoin. Be something if this was the low, right? And they flushed everyone out. Because I was looking for 36, overshot it. This could have been an important, very important high. There was a tweet by Mark Yusko who said that, about Musk, why not, he made a lot of money on the crypto move, and who knows exactly where he sold it or what he's holding. But now rinse and repeat. Maybe they're going to do it all over again. Actually, I don't think that 60,062 was the high, and that I think we're going to get fill out this range, and Bitcoin could make a move to 80K. So this, if you look at it, could just be just a little correction, and do a little work down here and get back above 52. We could be at 80,000. Okay, so gold's real interesting up here, guys. So this is a breakout a lot of people were talking about. Yeah, he can run the market. 80K, yeah. So gold so far has held this breakout line here. Still has, even on this big move we had yesterday in gold, this spike, look at this. We didn't even really confirm. Okay. And we all know silver's been lagging dramatically, right? And failed from the 78.6 level. So we'll see. You know, we could still, when I see this, I think, you know what, silver could still make another high. When I see this, gold has a weaker RSI structure. So we'll see what happens in the days ahead. And I'm not that bullish as a lot of people are here. So we'll see if it can hold this breakout. Of course, the big level is about 1850, but this is the way I drew the line, and goes all the way back to the high of the move. It's like one of these obvious trend lines that everyone's looking at and calling this a breakout. So we'll see. Oh, 500,000. Yeah, I heard about that too. So we'll see if we could hold this trend break in gold. And I think that's about all I wanted to cover. One other thing in S&Ps, it did dig its made a higher low here, right here. I would say that these are the two important levels. If we take out yesterday's low, this is a failing rally, and we take out Monday and Tuesday's highs, we have a shot for 4,300. I'm still going with the fact that I think we could rally one more time there, and I would love to see NASDAQ, which doesn't look like it could, but I'd love to see it rally one more time, because then you'd have this, right? 1, 2, and get a 3, you know, just a little bit above 14,000, 14.2, 14.3. But we'll see. Same applies for NASDAQ. We take out yesterday's lows. In fact, NASDAQ had a better day yesterday than S&Ps. Okay. A lot of stuff going on. Yeah, banks are going to let you have crypto accounts. So we'll see. Also, and I'm going to pass it to Blake here. Yesterday's action in the gold-silver ratio, and with only 1 day left, it's trying to put in a reversal week, a higher low. So we had this, and now we had this, and this pivot has been about 68.5. And if we get through that, I think we're going to 75, which would make gold still your preferred long and silver your preferred short. I might get my wish. It's not a wish. Okay. It's just a potential scenario that I see in the charts. So that's really it. You don't have that kind of formation in the S&Ps, but it's much more obvious in NASDAQ, isn't it? Look at this. 1, real clean, low pullback. 2, real clean, diverge, low pullback, and 1 more blast. And I'll be aggressive on SQQQ if that happens. You know, had a decent run. You know, there's nothing wrong with 25% from here to here in a few weeks. So we'll see. Maybe we're going to pull back here. Yeah. If I wish upon a star. Here, I'll wish upon Blake. Blake's a star. How are you, buddy? Nice Canada trade intraday live, showing people how you fade news events. It was a great live lesson.
Thank you. You know, it was that, I mean, those things, especially following news events, sometimes it can be more luck than skill. But in that case, it's just some of those things happen to be more experience. And that one was, we've seen Canada, and we've seen them over years get ahead of the news. There's a lot of speculation of whether Canadian banks get leaked a lot of the data ahead of time, and it seems like to me that they do. And so just playing into that, I mean, it made sense. But more importantly, it was the setup ahead of that news anyway. And interesting thing is, I got a text. I got a text yesterday afternoon because I sent out a tweet, and I was in the middle of doing analysis last night. And for those of you that don't know, I do analysis for our, for ForexAnalytix. So all this basic technical analysis on all these pairs at the end of the day, that analysis is done by me, and I upload charts. I take pictures of all the charts of what I'm seeing, and then I update the analysis at the end of the day. And so I really have a difficult time doing analysis and trying to tweet or, it's the whole, pat your head, rub your tummy at the same time. I have a difficult time doing it anyway. So yesterday I wanted to tweet out that we had so many reversal candles in the dollar that we have to be really careful. And I said, if you're a dollar bear or bull, you have to be careful. And my buddy, he texted me, he goes, "Hey, I just saw your tweet. Did you do you mean that?" And I'm like, "Oh crap, I actually said that incorrectly." And then I went back on Twitter and said, "Excuse the typo." And because I totally did not, I tweeted opposite of what I meant. And then because we saw some dollar bullishness yesterday, so I said, "Hey, you got to be careful going into today." And I still believe that to be the case, by the way. Going into today, you got to be a little careful about that. And he called me or text me. He's one of the guys that I used to trade with at Gelos, and we talked about the Canadian. He goes, "Yeah, following that CPI data, the strong CPI data that we played off of, Dale." He's like, I'm actually considering being aggressively short the Canadian dollar, and what's also interesting about that conversation, he's one of the better traders I've known in my lifetime. The guy that was texting me last night, he's like the Iceman when he trades. It's crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
One of those guys that trades such size that it doesn't even affect him.
I knew a guy on the floor. They used to call him the bank because he would fade central banks intervention.
Man.
Yeah, on the floor. Guy's name was Bregman. So
it's amazing when you get a reputation like that, right? But I mean, this guy is he's probably like 10 years younger than me, and like just the stomach of steel, and it's like, and when you're talking being, I guess, I was basically,
got to bring him in for an interview.
He likes, like a lot of these guys, they like to stay under the radar. They don't want to be known. We actually talked about it before, and I'd have to he's like,
bribe him.
Can we change my voice and and not show my face? I'm like, yeah, we probably can do that. Anyway, he's a really cool guy. But anyway,
he's turning bearish Canada down here. What was DSI like in 90 something? Like in Canada, I think we got to 90.
I can actually pull that up for you. Let me see, because last night I usually know this right off the top of my head, but last night, for those of you that missed it, it was my son's birthday. So because of that, I got the data and I passed it along to the chat room, but the Canadian dollar was at 79, so it was all the way up to 85, 88.
Okay.
So it was in the high 80s.
Yeah.
As we were approaching these lows, and you guys know I thought it was going to be a false breakdown, and that's why I was playing into it. So Dale, just to that's like it was the play that I wanted to play into based on my ideas that it was going to reverse. And so anyway, when you have a setup like that, it's like, okay, how do I play into it?
Right.
Anyway, one of the other things that happened yesterday that was really key is we had the FOMC meeting minutes.
Yeah.
And as I warned you guys, and I warned the folks on, you know, on our webinars, I told everybody that, hey, you got to be careful that the meeting minutes, they can't be more dovish than Powell. I mean, I guess they could, but they, you know, they just can't, you know, they couldn't really be more dovish than Powell. But I saw a journalist that actually made a great comment. He's like an economist journalist at, I want to say Wall Street Journal. He posted something, which is so true, And I'm paraphrasing here, so just bear with me. And I can't remember if it was where he was a journalist from. He's like an economist journalist from somewhere. But he said something like, the FOMC meeting minutes is a way for the opposition of the FOMC board to really state their opposition, right? So if you're a hawk at the Fed and you really want to voice your opinion that you're a hawk and why, you're going to do it. You're going to do it at the meeting, and you're going to make sure it's in the meeting minutes and it's displayed there, right? So you're making your case, and so it's basically like a soapbox for the opposition of the Fed, but at the same time, is there enough opposition or enough counter argument to alter the Fed chair? And that's why we saw a reaction yesterday, and that's why we saw the stock market actually pull back after the FOMC minutes, wherever we're at.
That'll be a good question to ask Danny Blanchflower tomorrow.
Yeah,
about,
I mean,
they use the Fed minutes,
Yeah, well, you could ask them about the Fed minutes or any of the minutes that are released and how that actually works. How the
they flow trial balloons and build their case during the minutes instead of the statement.
Right. I mean, I think it's very interesting. But anyway, I guess the point I was trying to make is that that after the FOMC meeting minutes, we saw a reversal. Now, the stock market did actually, and here's the S&P, and this is something that I want to point out, and because I drew this ahead of the minutes. I drew this when the S&P was right here. I said maybe what we're doing is we're forming some sort of triangle. And if you go watch the daily roundup, which is the recorded version now from 24 hours ago, you would see that I'm 90% sure I drew this out before it even happened, because I said, I think what's happening here is we're going to be, developing some sort of triangle. But anyway, or maybe it was right after. I have to go back and watch. But anyway, but I do think that the S&P is consolidating. But the one thing I do want to point out before I bring in Steve and Stelios, and I'd love to hear their views on this, is we had obviously a meltdown in crypto. And, I want to say that we were ready for it. We've been talking about it. And I have to say that ForexAnalytix, the actual system that we have in place with ForexAnalytix has been really spot on with crypto. And the reason why I say that is because this indicator here, let me grab the pen, excuse me, really quick. So just so you guys know how this works, how these work, okay? So these tabs show the bias of the macro, basic, harmonic, Elliott wave analysis, right? And then we add one on some of these other pairs, like the crypto. We remove the candle because the candle is irrelevant, because it, there's so many different feeds and it's not centralized, so you can't really read candles too well. I don't think that's as reliable in the crypto market. But the reason why you see multiple colors here is this is showing you the we have an algorithm that takes in the analysis that we're implementing, human implementation, with our charts, and the number of charts that we've posted over the last few weeks, and what the analysis bias has been. And we had been, up until a couple of months ago, like 2 months ago, we were, our basic technical analysis, I believe, was green pretty much for, like, I want to say, like 8 to 10 months. It was like solid green, never changed. Then it flipped to yellow like a couple of months ago, and then it flipped to red relatively recently. And the one thing I want to point out regarding our analysis on Bitcoin is we've been waiting for that bull bear line to actually break. And I was actually surprised that it broke so aggressively yesterday. I did, when it did fall, I thought it would sell off. We were building this wedge, and it looked very like, okay, yeah, it's about ready to happen. We knew it was coming. And then once we slammed through this this break down point, I wasn't surprised that we fell so hard. Or I was actually more surprised that we fell as hard as we did. I just thought it was going to continue to break down. Now we're coming back up towards that resistance, and I want to point out, or I actually want to ask Steve and Stelios here and the rest of the team, is we're seeing a recovery back in some of these cryptos, but more importantly, stocks have been holding up. So stocks really have come away unaffected by what we saw in Bitcoin. So do you guys have any opinions there? Because it was a pretty big move yesterday.
Indeed, it was. Good morning.
Good morning.
Cryptos, they're very strange animals. And like you said, as soon as we broke down, that was a big move. Now we're retesting, which I think on a risk reward, it's probably not a bad place to be shorting. But because your risk, right? If you get above that zone, then you cut. But what I was reading yesterday, I was quite interested, was that Elon Musk tweets the diamond hands thingy, and you see some of the replies, and there's all these people who say, "Oh, I'm destroyed now. I was long leveraged, and I told my friends to be long. They all hate me. I hate you, Elon," and all that. You see the kind of people and the way people just follow blindly, and that scares the crap out of me.
Yeah.
So, we're now down to whatever Elon and whoever else, Tom Brady or whoever else, they tweet about cryptos, and the market just moves erratically. So, can I make any sense of these moves? Not really. I mean, we were due for a correction because we were going parabolic to the upside. And Steve was saying this. I think you were saying this as well. But such a parabolic move cannot be sustained. It has to correct, and it did. But the question is, with this being so volatile and so unpredictable, and in my opinion, with no fundamentals, what can I make of it? I can't. So I just don't trade it. So a lot of people on this dip, there were two types of people. One group, they reconsidered their risk profile and their money management. And the other group, they just said, "Oh my God, I liked it at 60,000. I love it here. It's only going to go up to 500,000 in a month, so I'm going to add." So you have these two types of people.
It's definitely mania. I was watching or listening to a podcast yesterday about how humans are we're tribal by nature, right? So, and the author was talking about how tribal we are as a society. And what's interesting is that religion is less tribal as it has been in past years. So like if you look at I would say my parents' generation in the 50s or 60s, and then you can even look at Greece, which is really interesting as well. Greece, obviously, very everybody's Greek Orthodox, or at least 90%. But how less important is religion in in society nowadays. So people flock to this, as tribal people as we are, we go from, that what's taken over our tribal instincts are politics. And a lot of times, in a sense, like you take cryptos, right? So if you're a crypto person, you are all in, like all in. I mean, you can be. There's a lot of those like that are so. It is very much a religion to them, and it's because they belong in a community, and what, and like I said, or like I want to say whether it's right or wrong. I'm not here to agree or disagree. I'm just saying that it like cryptocurrency has become more like a religion. If it's very much a a religious type of investment.
Indeed.
And same with politics, right? And we've seen that happen a lot. And I found it really interesting, especially over the last, you think about it, over the last, like, I want to even say even like the last 20 years, people have become less religious in a traditional sense, but you've seen people become more tribal in other ways. Do you guys see that, or
the worship of money?
Yeah, or a new kind of money, or
yeah,
it's interesting. I just find
false idols.
What's that?
False idols.
Maybe I guess
maybe
Tom Brady
anyway.
or Elon Musk
of
the world.
Bow. DJ Bow.
So anyway, well, we do have some data coming up. I don't know if it's Steve around today. He's been kind of in and out.
I'm here, mate.
He is here. Well,
I am.
Sure
I've been listening to you.
A little bit of an opinion about what's happening in crypto land. What's happening? Did we hit rock bottom yesterday? Is it time for?
I think it's too early. I think it's too early to say. There are some signs that we might have, but especially in Bitcoin, if you ask me, I think there is a danger for at least one more low. That's what I technically think for the time being.
All right. Well, how did you feel about? How else did you interpret yesterday's action? You notice how stocks really held up pretty well, and as I wanted to point out, I think the S&P is consolidating. I'm surprised it's consolidating as well as it is, and shook off the crypto move thus far.
Mm-hmm. It's listen, it's been a brutal move, which, as we said yesterday, shows that this is not an asset class that's a store of value. I mean, whoever believes that really doesn't understand what a store of value is. Now, can you make money trading it? Absolutely, you can. You can make money trading anything, but you have to always keep in mind that the riskier an investment is, the different approach you have to have in how much you're willing to invest from a portfolio, so on and so forth. My biggest problem with crypto is that the vast majority of people that follow it, as you said, follow it in the logic of a cult. They think, that it's the solution for everything. It's like, it came here to replace everything we've had so far, and it's going to revolutionize everything and change the world forever. I think that, the truth is, far away from that, at least for the time being, and people need to be more prudent and, take the proper approach to it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Hey, I'm sorry. I was just reading a comment. And by the way, Galaxy, I would love to read your comment, which I do agree. I'm going to avoid doing it from I don't want to bring politics completely into the conversation, because we try to stay away from politics. I just wanted to point out that I think politics is more of a religion than anything, but I don't want to say one way or the other. Just trying to keep it. I'm trying to keep it clean, although I definitely have opinions. We do have data coming up, and as we wind down this week, and I'm going to say that I think I have to echo what Steve said. I think it's too early to identify or to see what happens with the crypto market. But the one thing I do want to say that if the U.S. equity markets can somehow really brush off the move that we have in cryptos, and the crypto market can actually, you know, bottom out somehow and consolidate at some point, and the stock market comes away relatively unscathed, I think that's going to be pretty impressive. I'm sorry, the data just came out.
Jobless claims in line, Philly Fed quite a bit weaker.
Oh, geez. Okay, let's take a look at that's going to be good for stocks with the Philly Fed a little weaker. Again, weak is good. Weak is good for risk.
Sold off on it so far.
With equities?
Oh, no, there I see down 2, NASDAQ up, yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming equities are spiking higher, or at least did a little bit following the data. Remember, like I said, bad data is good. Good data is
good too.
Now
everything's
my,
good.
Data has gone.
Bad data is good, and good data is good. Everyone's still there. I think we may have lost Blake.
I'm definitely here, and I can hear you, Dale.
Okay. All right. So, I've made Ed Dowd is with us today, guys.
Okay, perfect.
Nice.
And Ed, I've made you a panelist, waiting to hear your voice. My trading warrior brother, welcome back to Face. How are you, Ed? Waiting for your mic, because I have some very important questions to ask you. Is that you from Maui? Get off your surfboard, Edward Dowd.
He still seems to be muted.
I hear a xylophone being played.
I unmuted him.
Me now?
Yeah, Ed.
How you doing, guys?
All right, my trading warrior brother. How are things in Maui today?
It's 2:30 a.m. So.
Oh, okay. So it's dark out. Another day in paradise. Thanks for getting up so early to talk to us, Ed. I appreciate that.
I normally get up at 2:30 a.m. So I got up an hour earlier today.
I don't know how you do it. I get up at 4, and Rocky Balboa in the first Rocky movie showed him once he got the fight with Apollo and started to train. He got up at 4 and cracked about 8-10 eggs into a blender. Anyway, Ed, you want to share your screen?
Yeah.
Remember how to do that? Green box. And I want to acknowledge. Last time you were on, the market was correcting to the downside, and you didn't think it was going to be a major top. Your line in the sand was 3,700. I bet you're a little surprised that I remember that.
No, you took notes. You took notes, Dale.
No, I don't. I'm an elephant. Anyway, so I think we got down to 37.40. Never took out your line in the sand before we rallied up to 4,000. You also mentioned on VIX that the term structure, or there was no backwardation. It was all the further out you went, the higher the VIX price was. Has that changed at all in VIX?
Last week, briefly, we went into backwardation.
Okay.
I follow a VIX trader on Twitter who's pretty good, and when that happens, he takes off all his trades. So we did get a little bit of a warning last week that something's going on. It didn't stay in backwardation, but that's a sign for him. So he's a good trader. He avoids all the VIX blowups. He's usually short, and he stepped
usually short vol.
Yeah, usually short vol, and he stepped to the side because when that happens, that volatility traders who are usually short get blown up, and he's never been blown up. So he's out of trades. So last week we got a little warning sign. Right now, I was listening to what you guys were saying. Blake was saying that the S&P looks like it's doing a little triangle consolidation. I work closely with Peter Campbell, Electronic and
Right.
MCM. And
Good guy.
good guy.
I like
You know,
Peter. Yeah.
he and I are looking for a retest of the lows, maybe a little lower. We're looking for, we might rally here today, tomorrow into OPEX, but we think the rally is going to come up to a lower high we look at sentiment and we think it's going to get bearish excess energy, meaning like sentiment's going to get overheated for the amount of price movement, and then it'll resolve lower. And we're looking for 40.10 to 39.80 for a low. Now,
Okay.
Sometime, today, tomorrow, next week, I'd like to see it rally a little bit more before I get short. I'm in cash at the moment, but the bottom line is we're unsure whether a top is in. We're getting closer to a major top. However, depending upon what we see when we make the new low, if we see a confirmed sentiment low, that's scary. If it's an unconfirmed sentiment low, then we're going to rally to a new high and this thing continues. But so we're not saying the top is in, but we're more cautious than we were at 3,700, where we said we were going to a new high. We did. It's getting dicier here.
Yeah.
If you look
because there still are some bulls talking, a lot of people banding about the 4,400 level in the S&Ps. Does your work, can your work see how that might be able to happen, 43, 4,400?
Yeah, it can do that. And that quite frankly, I'd rather see that as the top, because that would be some unconfirmed highs, credit sentiment rolling over. And that would be a perfect high. What scares us is the top may be in. We're not saying it is, but if that is true, that would be a very unprecedented top, because we don't have unconfirmed highs. So that we're not saying it can't happen, but this is the Fed monster that they created. So new things can happen in these crazy times. So.
One of our attendees, Sansi, is asking, I don't know if you want to share it, who's the VIX trader on Twitter that you follow?
Selling Theta, at Selling Theta.
Selling Beta, at Selling Beta.
Selling Theta, TH.
Theta, okay. Okay, there you go, Sansi. All right, so you have someone else to confuse you. All right, Ed, so that's S&Ps. Anything else that you guys, do you guys track anything else besides S&Ps to, we've had a pretty good move in gold and the dollar. Does the dollar come into play? Because what I've noticed the last few days, which worries me, because I would like to see one more new high, but normally a weaker dollar propels stock indexes higher. And we've had a couple of days with the dollar being sharply lower, and it hasn't provided any jet fuel for stock indexes.
Well, if you look at the chart of the dollar, we put in a low in the beginning of the year in January. Then we had that nice rally. We went above the long-term trend line. Now we're back below it. And it looks like it wants to do a double bottom.
Do a what?
The dollar looks like it wants to try for a double bottom to the January low.
What, 88.5?
Yeah.
Everyone's looking for that number. I don't know how many people have talked 88.5. I know you've been around, but when everyone's looking for one level, what I've noticed over the years, it either doesn't achieve it, and if it gets there, it's not long lasting. That point, usually goes through it like a hot knife through butter. But there's so much almost unanimous opinion by dollar traders that 88.5 is going to be the low. So it makes me skeptical.
Well, you know how these things work. Like you just said, we may not make a double bottom. Maybe the low was January. We're back testing, and then the equity markets, like you said, we've had a nice decline in the dollar, and equity markets are kind of struggling up here. We had crypto getting slaughtered recently. Crypto has traditionally led, and Blake was referring to this, has traditionally led the stock market lower. When crypto goes lower, then the stock follow with a lag of a week or 2 or 3, 4 weeks, something like that. And that's why we're not saying that we're looking for a low. Our work suggests that we're going to have a low sometime, a few days, and double test that low from last week. So this is a dangerous time. I mean, we went into backwardation briefly last week. Everyone's looking for a double bottom in the dollar. We may not get it. May just launch from here. We're looking for another low in equities. Crypto's falling apart. It's back testing resistance. There's a lot of cross currents, and then you have yields kind of ticking up. Yields are ticking back up. The Fed yesterday said some bizarro things. They may taper sooner, but we're going to do permanent repo, which that really means no taper. But when you talk about permanent repo, that says there's something wrong with the plumbing. I used to be a bond salesman back in the early 90s, and when the repo markets get squirrely, that means there's something going on in the plumbing of the credit markets, which, when the credit markets get hinky, every asset class starts to fall apart. So there's something.
Were you a bond salesman at Drexel with Michael Milken? Huh?
I was at HSBC. I was institutional bond.
Okay. I just wanted, I remember that era. Anyway, you do too, right? All right. So a dangerous time. Where are you parking money? Just cash right here?
I'm cash looking to short this market for a retest of the low. We want to see what that low looks like. If it's a confirmed low, that means we'll bounce and then fail again and go to a new low. If it's an unconfirmed low, then we'll make new highs. So I don't know what that looks like yet. And, I try not to predict that. So I trade what I see, not what I want.
Could we just go? Where's your zone of interest to be a seller?
Let me take a quick look.
And is it possible that we don't retest that low and just, I know everything and anything can happen.
Yeah,
we don't retest that low and we just go from here?
Well, it's possible. If we make confirmed sentiment highs on our work, that means there'll be a slight pullback and then launch. So, right now I'm looking to short this, but if once I get off this call and if this thing makes a confirmed local high we have 3 different sentiment indicators: fast, intermediate, and medium term. We have bearish excess energy and intermediate term. And if we get a confirmed high on the fast Globex sentiment, then we'll get a pullback, and then we'll continue. But I don't know what that's going to look like until it unfolds. If we break over 4150 decisively, then this thing's going higher. If we there's a lot of emotional resistance between 4128 and 4140. So that's kind of the zone. So we're 4110. I'd love to see it get to 4130, struggle, get a lot of bearish excess energy, go sideways, and that's where I'd short it. So I'm doing nothing until we get a little higher. I may miss the short, but then I'd be looking for the long. But that's what I'm doing in the next day or two.
Okay. Any other thing you want to share with us today, Ed? I know it's kind of brief, but it's the market's kind of in an I don't know stage, IDK, but you're looking to short it around 4140, and you're wrong.
Between 4128 and 4140, somewhere in there. If it rejects the 4128, I'll short that.
Okay.
But the other thing I'd like to talk about is Tesla, which has kind of been the poster child for this bubble.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
what's interesting is, Tesla made a low in March market and then rallied.
You have a Tesla chart you could show while we're talking about it?
Let me pull it over.
So is Tesla going to go the way of Enron?
Personally, that's what I think, but
And Elon Musk made a high in crypto and doomed his company by going on Saturday Night Live.
Can you see the Tesla chart?
No, you'll have to do a new share.
New share. All right. So stop this current share and do a new one.
Yeah, new share. Stop sharing and do a new share.
Screen share. All right. You see it now?
Not yet. Oh, it almost came up. There it is. Okay, got it.
So what's interesting about Tesla is that we made a low in March. We had a rally in the indices to new highs. When we made the low in March, the index was around 3,700. Tesla did not go to a new high. It performed the S&P by about 10%. So right now it's back. It closed at its lowest level since March. And if it can decisively break 560, 540 and turn that into resistance, this thing, I think, has got a lot of air below it, and it could be done if that happens. Fundamentals really haven't mattered, but there's a lot of things going on with that stock, which I think is indicative of what's going on with the NDX, that is not good at the moment. I mean, China sales are rolling over. That was the whole story for the rally. You got Elon making all sorts of crazy comments about crypto, and the sentiment indicator on, Elon was well loved by the crypto community, and now there's a lot of division on Elon because of what he's done recently with this about Bitcoin and Doge. So, this is an interesting. I think this is like the canary in the coal mine, and if this thing can break decisively, it may be an indicator that the top in the market may be in. But again, I don't know if it wants to put in a double bottom.
Yeah. It looks like it's forming a descending triangle where we might be able to get from in here, maybe one more rally to 640 to 80, and then we get a breakdown, 560. It would actually measure, it's about a $300 formation or more, 320. They'll take it down to 240 or something.
Well, someone pointed out that it's an inverse
Head and shoulders.
Not head and shoulders.
Descending triangle.
Cup and handle.
Oh, reverse cup and handle. Okay, yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
This is at a very interesting point. It looks like it wants to rally today, but we'll see how it trades. But this is an interesting stock.
You want another canary in case this canary gets lonely in the cage by itself?
Sure. Well, give me another one.
Apple.
Oh, I've not looked at. I haven't been following.
All right.
that.
Well, anyway, pull it up if you can, and pull it up because we have not made a new high in Apple for quite a long time. And while NASDAQ was making new highs, it's like a failing rally. And Apple, deriving a lot of its iPhone sales from China too. So, I mean, Apple has been kind of a bellwether that hasn't participated with the overall market for a long time. So, I don't know.
Let me share again.
Take a look at that.
You got it?
Yeah. See what I mean?
Yep. So,
okay.
Look. Now, if we do put in an unconfirmed low here in the next couple of days, and go for a new high, the NASDAQ won't make a new high. It'll double top, and that'll be the end. If we do go for one more, if we go for that 4,300, 4,400 area,
Okay.
that's what we're looking for. I'd hate to see it. Quite frankly, top is in. I don't like that because I'll miss a big move down because I like to see unconfirmed highs, and I'd rather short it higher. But we'll see. We'll see what develops. I mean, the next couple of weeks are very dicey, very dicey.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I wouldn't want to be a levered long with huge margin calls potentially happening in the next couple of weeks. That'd be very bad. So this is the time to be taking a lot of risk, in my opinion.
Okay, so Ed Dowd, the return of capital more important than the return on capital over the next several weeks. Live from Maui, looking to short rally, looking for a retest of the 40-10 level. Have I read you correctly, Ed?
Correct. And then once we get down there, we'll see what it looks like, and you know, if it's a confirmed low, then the bounce will be a short. If it's an unconfirmed low, we're going to new highs, and that'll be a great long. So I won't be on your show, but that's what I'm looking for.
Well, you'll be back, but afterwards. So anyway, I really appreciate you getting up early and sharing your ideas with us. And, you know, if you see anything happening VIX wise, why don't you DM me if you remember me? And
Yeah, no, I will.
maybe,
DM. If I see the VIX curve starting to do hinky things, I'll let you know, because that's usually a good warning indicator that we're gonna get a wave of margin calls, and it's gonna be a fast market to the downside.
okay, so you could follow Ed on Twitter. It's Dowd Edward at DOWD Edward is his handle. He works with Peter Campbell. Ever hear Peter play piano?
Yes, he's fabulous.
Yeah. Do you play anything?
No, I'm tone deaf.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, you know, it's fun partnering up with a musician, a rock star. So appreciate you and Peter's work, and you coming in and getting up so early, Ed, to share these ideas with us. You're my trading warrior brother forever, bro.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna give out Peter's Twitter handle.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
He's got a private one where you can follow his market analysis, and let me get his public one. So it's
And someone said someone wasn't able to find that VIX guy. If you could
I'll do that.
type.
Peter is at NCM_CT.
Yeah.
He does have a service that he's going to be closing down this week, actually. I mean, he'll keep it open for those, but after this week, no more new subscribers, because he and I are going to be doing a new project together, potentially raising some capital for a new strategy. But we'll, so this is the last week to do his MCM CT market stream. But let me give you the selling theta guy. Okay, it's at selling_theta, THETA, at selling_theta, THETA.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you so much, Ed. I wish you know, a lot of green.
Thank you,
And
sir.
you know what I mean? I'm talking cash, man. So good luck in the coming weeks. And thanks again for being with us, Ed. Appreciate you giving your time, especially so early in the day for you. I mean, at night. So thank you for being an owl, being nocturnal, and hanging out with us today, bro. Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
All right, so that's a wrap, everyone. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. You could join the team in 20 minutes for the morning edge. So you could catch Blank doing some great scalps along with the rest of the team, and Amanda and Paulie, everyone in there trying to help people and become part of that community to take advantage of it. So adios. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll wrap up the week. Good hunting. Thank you. Thank you, Ed.